As you see here, we have an old Ariens jet rototiller. Actually, just last week I did a carburetor clean on this thing, but we don't have any spark. So we're going to go through how to get this old Briggs to spark again. All right, let's get to it. My name's Jeremy. Welcome to HP Small Engine. Well, first thing we're going to have to do is take the shroud off. And as you can see, we have a bolt, one right there, one right there, and there's one hidden on the backside in here. And I believe those are 3/8. Nope, 7/16. Yep, 7/16. Okay. Let me get my impact ready and we'll pop these off real quick. One, 1.5. And can I get this to fit in here? Nope. Oh, okay. Throttle cable's in the way, but I think I can sneak around it. Just barely. Nope. All right, I'm gonna have to grab my extension. All right, that should get her off of there. We'll put this here first. Now, gotta get in there. You can get in there now. Come on. All right. Well, conveniently, socket came with it. So, sweet. Okay. This should just slide right off now. There we go. Alrighty. So, this right here is your ratchet for your pull starter. Now, you need to take these two screws out and pull this little shroud cover off. So let me swap out my ends here. All right. One of those. One of those. Okay. There's that. So, what I'm getting at is right here we have your coil, but underneath here we have the points. And we need to look at the points because I know this coil is good, only because I guarantee the points are dirty. But we're going to take this off and then we got to pull the flywheel. So let me grab my rubber hammer and we'll pop this off real quick. All right. So ever so gently, you just got to burn some rubber. Let's flip that over. Come on. He doesn't want to move. Let me grab a little bit of a punch there for that. I got a brass one over here. All right. It's been here for a while, so I wouldn't be surprised if it takes a little bit to get it to come off. But come on. Come on. That sucker's snug, isn't it? All right, so I don't want to booger that up too much. Let me spray a little bit of stuff in there, maybe. See if I can get it in the threads. But this is sometimes if this has probably been on here since 75 or whatever year this was made. So I wouldn't be surprised if it takes a minute. All right, end up setting the screwdriver in here just to try to keep it from wanting to roll. Ever so gently. There it is. There we go. Nope. Now we're moving again. Stay there now. And this sucker is snug. This is the hardest one I've had to take off, and I've only taken off 3. All right, I don't want to do the aluminum fins. Let's try to get it right in here. Stay there. All right. Don't bend it up too much now. Slowly but surely. Let's try this little guy in here maybe. I don't know if it'll spin it or not. Maybe I'll just do it right here. Okay, I'm just continue. Come on now. Quit rolling. Oh, my finger. All right. Try it again. Stay there. Stubborn old gal. But, if you're going to work on this older stuff, sometimes this happens. It's part of the fun, right? right? This is a piece of aluminum, by the way. I figured I'd grab it so I didn't beat this up a whole lot. Stay there. Now, am I just spinning the whole stinking thing again? Oh, my finger. This thing's got to be breaking loose. All right, hold that thought. This is probably literally the most stubborn one I've ever had to work with, but here we are. I'm getting her off there. Rotate you a little bit more. Oops, that was my screwdriver holding. There it is. See, I wasn't lying to you. Sometimes these things are just a pain in the butt. Okay, now that we have that removed, so like I was saying, there's on the back side in here, there is a set of points. And we need to get that removed so we can get to them points. So, to get started, I need to find my puller. Yep, you gotta find my puller. It's somewhere over here, I think. Okay, that was fun. My 3-jaw puller's a little bit too big for this, so I figured I'd just pop her off camera. So, flywheel is off. As you can see, the coil has a wire. It has a couple wires. This one goes ground there. This one runs under this cover. Let me try to get this little dealio. This is your governor. We'll get that out of the way. Let's hook you back up to get you out of the way. All right, so now we just got to pull these 2 little screws out. And then we just pop this little cover off, like so. Like so. Rubber on the ends hung up a little bit. That's only been there forever. And then here are your points and condenser setup. And if you guys have seen before, I'll refer back to my yellow push mower I did. This is the same setup. This is like I can't remember exactly what they call this, but this is literally that's your condenser and a ground, and the ground for the points all at once. I don't know why my brain's not working today. But anyways, I'm gonna check in here and just see how the contacts look. I'm guessing they're dirty because we don't have any spark. So let's take a look at that up close with my flashlight and see what we got going on. All right, I don't know how well you guys can see in there, but let me get my flashlight on. Well, there's a little bit of corrosion on there, which a little bit will go a long way when it comes to trying to get any spark whatsoever. So let me go grab a piece of sandpaper, and I'll show you how I clean them. All right, so when you're doing the contacts on your up in there, you want to make sure you don't use too high grit of sandpaper because you don't want to sand your contact right out. But first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate this engine over. Let me do it from the belt side, hopefully. I want to get them to touch so I can have them close enough to do what I got to do. Would you just spin for me? Hey. Okay. So right there, they touch. All right. So now what I'm going to do, oops, let me focus in a little bit more. All right. So now what I'm going to do, reach right up in there, open it up, and I'll set it right down, and then push just a little bit. Pull it out. Now, do you see all the white on there? Focus. White's usually a good sign of corrosion. I'll turn it around. My hand looks pretty good, probably, huh? Alright. There, I got a good chunk of that out. So let me do this to this side. Alright. Now, because this has the mat, or the stuff on the back for sander, I want to make sure I have all the debris out of there. So let me double check, make sure that looks good, and then we'll go from there. Well, here's now the very fun and exciting part. Reassembly. So I got to grab those two little guys right there. Okay. Just set them up here ever so gently. I don't know if you noticed, but this thing rust-proofed itself pretty good. This is a buddy of mine. He was, if you saw my video last week on my ultrasonic cleaner, there was this one and another tiller I was working on. I told him I wanted to do a video on the ultrasonic cleaner, so he gave me two reasons to do it. Excuse you. So I got those back in. Now I just need to get my key, which I just set right here, back in place, and I'm going to rotate this engine so the key's up top, and I'll slide that flywheel back on. Okay, now we'll get the old flywheel on. Now, these do have aluminum keys in them, and it says right here to make sure you use an aluminum key. Not 100% sure why they wanted to, but that's what they did. My key already moved. Probably so it doesn't get sucked up by the magnet. That would make sense. Oh, all right. Alrighty. Are we lined up? There we go. It moved back a little bit there. If only everything wasn't magnetic. There we go. All right, so that's on. Now we got to get the starter piece back on. Where'd you put it? Over here. All right. So that goes on like so. And then this just spins on like so. And I'll tap that tight with my rubber hammer. Yeah. That's really all it takes. Tighten these up, just a little tap on those. I'm sure there's a torque spec, but I figured thump, 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 that'd be about enough. All right, now let's get the magnets pointing down. Let's get the screws for the coil back in here. Because, you know, my brain is still not braining right now. I don't know what's wrong with me. Probably a lot of you have an idea. If you do, let me know. All right, so anybody know what we got to set the coil to? Go ahead and pause and put a comment down. Let me know. Even though in about 10 seconds you're going to know anyway. So let me go grab my feeler gauges. I'll be right back. All right, well, if anybody said 10 thousandths for your coils, you guys would be correct. But I got to get this in. I did this wrong. Back up. Get that in there. Get that one. Whoops, I got to flip it over. My set of feeler gauges here just ironically happens to have a brass 10 thousandths, which is fantastic because this thing never gets caught by the magnet. Nice and easy. Spin it out. There we go. My dad told me something really cool one time. He tells me, Briggs and Stratton, you go 10, 20, 30. 10 thousandths on your coil, 20 thousandths on your points, 30 thousandths on your spark plug. I've forgotten that about every time. No, I'm kidding. No, he said that and that was pretty cool. So I remember that quite well now. But I always set my, unless otherwise specified, I'll set my coils right to 10 on anything so far. I haven't had a problem. But let me get the shroud put on and then we will see if this thing has any life in it. So, all right, cool. Some of you are probably yelling at me through your screen like, hey, you didn't put the governor back on, or you didn't put the little ground back. I forgot, I got it. That's why I waited to put the shroud on, just to be like, I got it. I had my moments. Whoops. Listen, quit getting ahead of yourself, sir. Let's put this on. Yep. I get excited sometimes, okay? I'm sorry. It's fun watching this old stuff come back to life after who knows how long of sitting. I gotta go grab my impact again. Ever so gently. It's just aluminum, so go nice and easy. Got it. All right. Now we'll switch over, get ready to put the shroud back on. Now that I'm actually ready to do it. All right. You go that way. You go that way now. You gotta get in there now. Now listen here, you. There. All right. White one on top. The one that fell off on the side. Am I lined up? I think so. I don't know. I can't see. When it stops going in, I guess I went far enough. All right. And then we'll do this one on this side. Apparently I'm not backhanded. So when you put shrouds on, kids, you never tighten all the bolts up, or tighten bolts as you go. You wait till they're all in. Right? Right. All right, there. That's in. And then that's in right there. Beautiful. Now, let me get some stuff cleaned off of here. We'll put my spark tester on and see if we have some spark. So I guess before I started this video, I probably should have showed you I didn't have any spark. But let's see if we actually have something now anyways. Oh, for days. Oh yeah, beautiful. Okay. Now, I think I have some gas in it. We'll get this set up and see if we can get it to start. All right. Well, I guess let's pull the choke on this thing and see if this thing will make some noise. All right. Don't move. Oop. There we go. No way. Come on, girl. Oh, come on. You're almost there. Ah, I got to remember to check that first. All right, choke off. Nope, choke on. Half choke. Half choke, maybe, right there. Maybe it needs more throttle. Let's see, where's fast? Send it, okay. If you notice, I got it tied down to the old gal here, just in case it wants to take off on me. All right. Choke again. Come on. Maybe it needs some motivation. Let me find something to give her down the yap, see if it'll get something going here. Well, look what we have here. Give her a little more gas. I think that's gas. I hope that's gas. Come on, girl. I mean, it needs some adjustment, but here it is. So far, it hasn't stalled on me yet. Yeah, I gotta back that out. Let me tune it a little bit, see what I can come up with. There. No choke. Air filter on. There's your run. And your shut off. I must have flooded it. I don't know. Took me a minute. I pulled the air breather off, gave it a little shot of some carb clean to give her a good boom, and it took right off. And yeah, I can smell gas pretty good. She's running a rich. Oh, she's rich. Well, that's cool. That worked out pretty good. Yeah, I'm warm. Because, you know, I start something 3 times, all of a sudden sweating. Rude. All right, so let's talk a little bit more about this real quick, okay? Now, as you can tell, this isn't as easy as, say, just a regular Briggs & Stratton that has your points on the side. It's kind of a pain to do, but it's worth it. So to spending $100 and some on a different engine to put on there takes, I don't know, how long is this video? Plus 10 minutes, that's about all it is. It's not that big a deal. All right, that's a win. I'm happy with that. One thing I do want to mention is, I know it's pretty easy to go up to Harbor Freight and pick up a Predator 212 or whatever they have that'll fit one of these and just plop it on there. I get that. But there's something about just, you know, taking a little bit of time and getting these old things running again, because it's so nice hearing these old engines run and stuff, I think. That's just my opinion. All original. I mean, it's just, some people, this is just a rotor tiller. I get it. But this is a piece of machinery built in this country, in Wisconsin. Ariens was made in Wisconsin. The engine, I don't remember where they made Briggs, but either way, it's literally a part of history. Because, you know, how many gardens did your grandpa make with one of these? Or your dad, you know? So, yeah. It sounds pretty good, though. Definitely fogged me out in here. I was starting to see stars, yeah. Yeah, that's all I have for tonight, for today, for the week. Something like that. I've got a bunch of other stuff to do. My wheel horse, I'm still waiting on parts. I need to get the time to get it in here, but I don't ever seem to have the time because I've got all these little projects to do. But we'll get back to that eventually. But besides that, I think you guys need to have a good rest of your week, and we'll see you next week. Have a good one.